The Bible is a unique book. Unlike any other found on the shelves of public libraries, its narrative begins with the creation of the world and goes all the way to the apocalypse. No other history book dares to cover such a vast range of earthly events, mainly because no historian was there to witness and record the beginning of everything. Therefore, we are the only ones who possess the knowledge of how it will all end. This is extraordinary. The Lord did reveal the future to his followers to satisfy their curiosity, but to prepare them, avoiding surprises and misunderstandings when the end finally comes. We should thank Jesus for his clarity in informing us about what the future holds. Many question if we are living in the final times. The truth is that according to the Bible, these times began 2,000 years ago at Pentecost, when the first prophecy about the last days was fulfilled. Each generation of Christians must live ready for the Lord's return, always staying vigilant and prepared. The Bible is a book full of predictions, containing 735 prophecies about the future. A prophecy appears in 1/4 of its chapters, from Genesis to Revelation. Essentially, it's a prophetic text, although some books are more dedicated to predictions than others. So far, 596 of the 735 prophecies have been fulfilled, revealing an impressive accuracy rate of 81%. Given this track record, it doesn't take much effort to believe that the remaining 19% will also come true. The Bible has been 100% accurate in all the prophecies that could have been fulfilled so far. The remaining prophecies mostly relate to the return of Jesus and the subsequent events. How many of these predictions still need to happen before Jesus returns? The answer is about 20, and we are waiting for their fulfillment before expecting the Lord's return. Jesus exhorted us to watch and pray, advice that remains as relevant today as it was 2,000 years ago. What should we watch for? We can't just look at the sky, waiting for him to appear. That's not what he meant. He advised us to pay attention to what happens in the world and recognize the signs he gave us so we can prepare. To understand these signs, let's look at Matthew chapter 24, where the disciples asked Jesus about the signs of his return. Imagine if we didn't know when this would happen. Jesus answered this question clearly and directly, something for which we can be grateful. In the book of Revelation, we find an even more detailed and comprehensive answer, but in Matthew, Jesus gives us a summary of the signs that will precede his arrival. While Jesus was sitting on the Mount of Olives, the disciples approached him privately. In Matthew 24:3-36, we read, "Later, Jesus sat on the Mount of Olives, and his disciples came to him in private and asked, 'Tell us, when will these things happen? And what will be the sign of your coming and of the end of the age?' Jesus answered, 'Watch out, that no one deceives you. For many will come in my name, claiming, I am the Christ, and will deceive many. You will hear of wars and rumors of wars, but do not be alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come. Therefore, instead of simply waiting, we must be vigilant and aware of the events around us, recognizing the signs given to us. Jesus advised us to always stay alert and pray, keeping ourselves ready for his return. Nations will rise against nations and kingdoms against kingdoms. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places, but this is only the beginning, like the first pains of childbirth. These will be difficult times. You will be arrested, persecuted, and killed, and you will be hated by all because of my name. Many will turn away from the faith, betray, and hate each other. False prophets will arise and deceive many. Wickedness will spread everywhere, and the love of many will grow cold. However, those who endure to the end will be saved. The good news of the kingdom will be proclaimed throughout the world so that all nations will hear it, and then the end will come. The day is approaching when you'll see what was foretold by the prophet Daniel, the sacrilegious object that causes desolation standing in the holy place. Reader, pay attention. At that time, those in Judea should flee to the mountains. Anyone on the rooftop should not go down to take anything out of the house, and anyone in the field should not go back to get their coat. It will be a dreadful time for pregnant women and nursing mothers. Pray that your escape will not occur in winter or on the Sabbath, for there will be greater anguish than any other since the beginning of the world, and there will never be another like it. Indeed, if those days of calamity were not shortened, no one would survive, but they will be shortened for the sake of God's chosen ones. If anyone tells you, "Look, here is the Messiah," or "There he is," do not believe it. False messiahs and false prophets will appear, performing great signs and wonders, trying to deceive even God's chosen ones if possible. I'm warning you about this ahead of time. If they say, "Look, the Messiah is in the desert," do not bother to go see, or "He is hiding here," do not believe it. For as the lightning comes from the east and flashes to the west, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. Just as the gathering of vultures indicates the proximity of a carcass, these signs will show that the end is near. Immediately after the distress of those days, the sun will be darkened, the moon will no longer shine, the stars will fall from the sky, and the heavenly powers will be shaken. And then, finally, the sign of the Son of Man will appear in the heavens, causing great mourning among all the peoples of the earth. They will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of the sky with power and great glory. He will send his angels with a loud trumpet call, and they will gather his chosen ones from the four corners of the earth and the heavens. Learn the lesson from the fig tree. When its branches sprout and its leaves begin to appear, you know that summer is near. Likewise, when you see all these things happening, know that the return of the Son of Man is very near at the doors. I tell you the truth, this generation will not pass away until all these things have been fulfilled. Heaven and earth may pass away, but my words will never disappear. However, no one knows the day or the hour when all this will happen, not even the angels in heaven, nor the Son. Only the Father knows. In this passage, Jesus offers us 4 clear signs of his return. What are these signs? The first involves worldwide disasters, wars, famines, and earthquakes. These events have been occurring for thousands of years, but are intensifying, indicating that we are seeing the first sign. Currently, we see wars, rumors of conflicts, earthquakes, and famines in various parts of the world. Jesus repeatedly warns us, do not be deceived. As we approach the end, deception becomes an ever greater danger, both inside and outside the church. He mentions false Christs and false prophets, individuals who will use the chaos of natural disasters to present themselves as saviors. Many historical examples show people who, pretending to be liberators, led crowds into despair and tragedy. In times of crisis, more false saviors appear, promising solutions to all problems. The more problems arise, the more these false liberators will emerge. However, as Jesus advises us, we should not be alarmed. Do not worry when you hear about new wars, tragedies, or famines. The signs are being fulfilled before our eyes. We must keep faith and vigilance, always remembering the words of Jesus, which are eternal. Even if the world is in turmoil, the divine truth remains firm and unshakable. Jesus told us something surprising. These painful events are not the end, but rather the beginning, like labor pains. When we read about disasters in the media, we should remember that these pains mean something new is about to be born. This should completely change our perspective. We know where the world is headed. We should not be alarmed or discouraged, nor should we worry as the world does about these things. Disasters in the world are the birth pains of a new world that is coming. We must be different. We feel compassion for those who suffer and should express it by helping them. But in our hearts, we are not alarmed. We are hopeful, looking forward to the birth of a new world. Therefore, we do not let ourselves be downcast or depressed by the problems of the world. In short, Jesus' advice is, do not panic, do not be disturbed, but even rejoice, for all these are signs of something new happening. The second sign of his coming is not in the world, but in the church. Disasters in the world are the first sign. Changes in the church are the second. Just as the first sign was divided into three parts, wars, earthquakes, and famines, the second sign is also divided into three parts, all occurring within the church. Jesus warned us that within the church there would be deception and false prophets. Many would fall away from the faith and the love of many would grow cold. Despite these difficulties, those who endure will be saved. And during these difficult times, the message of the kingdom will be preached throughout the world. Therefore, our attitude toward disasters and changes in the church should be one of vigilance and hope. We are awaiting a new birth, a new world, and this should fill us with deep joy, even amidst tribulations. Jesus warns us that the first aspect of this second sign is persecution, where we will be hated by all nations. The second aspect is a significant reduction in the size of the church, as the love of many will grow cold. Under the pressure of universal persecution, many nominal Christians, and perhaps even some true believers, will abandon the faith. This is a desolating sign. However, there is a surprise in the third part of this sign. The gospel will be preached to all racial groups. Jesus suggests that a smaller but purified church will have an even greater impact on the world. Despite the emergence of false prophets who deceive by promising peace and comfort in times of tribulation, we must persevere. They will say, everything is fine, this will not happen, but Jesus advises us not to give up. Those who endure to the end will be saved. When all these aspects manifest and the church is despised by the world, we must remember Jesus' advice to all Christians to remain firm. Why should it be this way? Because the wheat and the tares grow together, and the closer they get to maturity, the more tension there will be between them. Therefore, it's natural for Christians to be under intense pressure in the end times. These signs show us that even in the midst of adversity, there is hope. The church, although smaller, will be stronger and purified, and its message will reach all corners of the earth. We must keep our faith and vigilance, knowing that the Lord is with us in all these moments of trial. Christians are, by nature, social misfits, and therefore they often face hatred. This world is not our final home. Our citizenship is in the heavenly realms. Our uniqueness can generate animosity, just as Jesus, who was so different, attracted hatred against himself. In John 15:19, he reminds us, if you belonged to the world, it would love you as its own. Instead, the world hates you because you do not belong to the world, but I have chosen you out of the world. It is not pleasant to be despised, but this prepares us for the third sign of the final times, the anguish of Jerusalem. Geographically, this sign will be limited to Jerusalem. Jesus quotes Daniel's prophecies, which mention the abomination of desolation 3 times. But what does this really mean? It refers to a tyrant, a man who will establish himself in God's own city, proclaiming himself as God and refusing to accept any authority higher than his own. His arrival will have global repercussions, but will be centered in Jerusalem, the holy city. After this event, Jesus tells us that the fourth sign of his coming will occur, and it will be unmistakable. There will be no danger of false prophets or false messiahs, for it will be swift and evident. All natural light will be extinguished, the sun will be darkened, the moon will not give its light, and the stars will fall from the sky. Therefore, although we are misfits in this world, we must keep our faith and vigilance. When the final sign comes, we will be ready. There will be no deception or confusion, just the certainty of the fulfillment of Jesus' promises. These events, although disturbing, lead us to a new beginning, where our true citizenship will be revealed in the glory of the heavenly kingdom. There are numerous predictions about the final events throughout the Bible. Isaiah, for example, describes that the heavens will be rolled up like a scroll, all the stars dissolved and falling like withered leaves from a vine or fig tree. Natural light will disappear, leaving only artificial light to illuminate the earth. Faced with this, people may wonder, what is happening? Christians will exclaim that the sun, stars, and moon have stopped shining. This happens because God turns off the lights of the sky to prepare for the brilliance of the lightning that will announce his return. Then he will come on the clouds back to planet Earth, and we will meet him. This encounter will not be in an earthly stadium, as none would be big enough to accommodate the crowd. We will meet him in the air, and that will be enough. Isn't that a wonderful prospect? When we see all these things happening, we will know that he's at the doors, about to enter. Jesus gives us a simple lesson about the fig tree. Now learn this lesson from the fig tree. As soon as its branches become tender and its leaves sprout, you know that summer is near. He's telling us that when we notice all these events, we will know that his return is near. This analogy of the fig tree is a direct comparison with everyday experiences, as Jesus often used in his teachings. When we see the fig tree sprout, we know that summer is coming. Likewise, when we notice these four signs, we will know that the end is near. Unfortunately, many have interpreted this as an allegory. In reality, Jesus was using a simple and direct comparison. I hope you have a better understanding of biblical prophecies and the importance of always being vigilant and prepared for Jesus' return. May the Lord continue to light your path and strengthen your faith. If you like the content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any new videos. Leave your like and share it with your friends so that more people can benefit from this message. And remember, we are just beginning our journey of learning. On the screen, you will see 2 recommended videos to continue your understanding and deepen your knowledge of biblical prophecies and teachings. See you in the next video, and may God bless us all.